Hey there, welcome back to another review, this time of the 2018 comedy Game Night. This was a film I was honestly really anticipating. I liked the trailer, I thought it looked like a fun time, I liked that the film looked like it was going to be one of those comedies that wasn't just relying upon crass and cringe jokes in order to get laughs, that it was actually going to try. And I thought the concept looked interesting. I liked the idea of a group of friends who are doing the game night. They get together and they think that they're in for some kind of murder mystery night, and everything's all a setup, and none of it's for real. And then things actually escalate, and things actually end up becoming closer to reality, and there's more of like a real life murder mystery thing going on, like Clue. So I like it was like a contemporary modern day version of Clue mixed in with the game. I like that. I thought that was a fun blend of concepts and ideas. And I saw it on opening weekend. I didn't get around to reviewing it yet until now because I've been busy with a few other things. But I am really glad to tell you that it did not disappoint. I really enjoyed Game Night. I had a blast with this film. It was a really fun night at the movies, no pun intended. It was a movie that it lived up to my expectations and then some. It's a movie I can definitely see owning in the future. It's a film I definitely want to watch again and again after that because I like the concept. I like the idea. They do a lot of good stuff with it. But also, it has a lot of rewatchability because of the cast. The cast is extremely endearing, extremely likable. You buy that these actors are playing friends. It's not that they're playing friends. You buy that they are friends, that they have been best friends, that they've done these game nights for years, and so on and so forth. They have chemistry that's hard to teach and hard to get. And it felt like a throwback to an 80s or 90s comedy with characters who were likable, who had their own different personalities, who weren't just stock characters or weren't just the same type of people. And it wasn't just a bunch of famous people getting together and doing a movie. And trying to make you laugh just because they're famous comedians. That was a nice, refreshing thing to see, too. A lot of the actors in this, other than Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams and a few of the other supporting roles, I really was not that familiar with. For example, Jesse Plemons, who steals this movie, I really had never heard of him until this movie, and I'm a fan. He was spectacular in this. He was laugh out loud hilarious as this creepy neighbor who turns the creep level up to 11. Like, this guy was really top notch, and I'm really looking forward to what he does next. Like, this guy is immensely talented, and so is the rest of the cast. It's one of those films that I found it to be really fun and entertaining and worth my time because of the ideas and the concepts that were thrown around, and because of the cast. It's one of those films where the cast really does make the film. Uh, Although, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from everything else, all of the other aspects of the movie, because those also are what elevates this film to a whole nother status as well. I mean, one thing I think that is a real standout, other than the cast, which I'll go in and talk about them a little bit more as I go further down the list of things I want to discuss in this review. But I want to start with the directors. John Francis Daley and Johnathan Goldstein. These are two directors who have done work that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Horrible Bosses. I didn't like Horrible Bosses 2. I thought that was lame, but they didn't really direct it. But, you know, still, it's a sequel to Horrible Bosses. Their last film they did before this was Vacation, and that was a huge miss. And I am really glad to say that this is a return to form for them. This is a really well directed movie. For a comedy, this has action sequences and chase scenes that are better directed than action movies, than actual thrillers I've seen. Like, this is really impressive if you ask me, when it comes to the direction. It looks like something straight out of a thriller, and like a serious thriller. And it's not one of those comedies where, and it's funny. It's like, this is not the movie I thought where I'd see some well-directed action sequences, because it's not an action comedy, but it does have some action in it. But it's more of a thriller comedy, a thrillamedy, a phrase that was coined for arachnophobia for some reason. But yeah, this is really honestly a thrillamedy. That's a good way to put it. That term actually fits this movie better than it does arachnophobia, but because it plays out like a thriller. Like a comedic version of The Game with Michael Douglas. But yeah, I thought the direction in this was great. There's a lot of different instances where it really does impress. There's multiple scenes where it looks like it's shot all in one take. The sequence in the mansion with the Fabergé egg, the scene where Kyle Chandler's character Brooks is getting chased by these kidnappers throughout his house. There's just a lot of moments in this that just really make you go, wow, like, this is really well shot for a comedy. I also feel the cinematography by Barry Peterson works hand in hand with the direction by Daley and Goldstein. You can tell that this is a project that's a passion project. This is not something they're just doing for a paycheck. You can tell that they're actually trying, and it isn't one of those comedies where you have stock, flat, boring direction and cinematography, like Ride Along, or Ride Along 2, or Bad Moms Christmas, or Rough Night. Like, this actually has style to it, and it actually looks like there is effort put behind the camera, which really goes a long way in terms of elevating this film and really making it a really big winner when it comes to the overall quality of the movie. The script by Mark Perez is witty, it's fun, it's a nice mix of different genres, and it does a really good job with its characters. The heart and soul of this film is its characters, and I felt that Mark Perez really did inject a lot of life and a lot of love into these characters, and it shows. They all, like I said, they have their different personalities, they have their different quirks, they go on their own separate journeys, they have their different in jokes or different repeated lines and sort of gag, not really sort of, I mean, the repeated gags that are sprinkled in throughout the movie. So, and I also I like the fact that the plot is simple and straightforward and easy to follow, but it's also mysterious enough that it keeps you engaged. And there's a really good twist in it that I do not want to give away. But yeah, it's one of those movies that could easily swing for the fences and strike out repeatedly, but it doesn't do that. It knows when it needs to do that. It knows when it needs to swing hard and try to go for that home run and try to go for that swerve, and it knows when not to. And that's a real feather in this film's cap when it comes to its screenplay, when it comes to its script. This is not a script where you're like, oh, sorry, you're sorry, or you feel that, oh, it should have taken a different path, or maybe it should have just not went right past go and then collected. It's one of those things where it actually does go in pretty in depth, and really goes for it. It goes for the gusto. It doesn't just go past go and collect its $200 and then just not even give a shit. It actually does make an effort to really make it, like I said, an engaging, entertaining, worthwhile experience. So if you saw me lean over there real quick, my connection to my internet got a little bit loose, so I had to plug it back in. Otherwise, could cause issues if I wanted to go any further on this page that I'm using for reference for this review. It's live, folks. Shit happens. But anyway, yeah, I definitely want to mention the writing, because it's it's really honestly some of the best writing I've seen in a comedy in a long time. It's a big reason why this film works so well. Why it's like a well done steak. It's well cooked. It's cooked to perfection almost. I mean, it's not too perfect, but it's just good enough. It's got enough seasoning and everything, and it's it fills you up and you're satisfied. You're satisfied. You are not upset. You do not want to send the steak back to get redone, or it's not cooked overly, it's not overdone, or it's not undercooked. It's just right. I also really thought the score by Cliff Martinez was quite spectacular, especially for a comedy. I was not expecting a score like this. It's a techno retro score. It sounds like something you'd hear on the new Retrowave label, which I know this is off topic, but I cannot recommend this YouTube channel enough. If you like 80s style music, scores, check out New Retrowave. You will not be disappointed, and you will be thanking me, because there's just a smorgasbord of just lovely, just luscious, amazing 80s awesomeness when it comes to music on that particular YouTube channel and on that label. Definitely support the artists that call themselves a part of New Retrowave. Because yeah, this music totally sounds like something that you'd hear on that channel. And I felt, yeah, it was interesting because this is a comedy, but it has a score that reminds me of Tangerine Dream, and I liked it. It was actually one of my favorite scores so far that I've heard in a film from 2018. And it'll probably still be right near the top of the list by the end of the year. I enjoyed it that much. It really did add a certain flavor to the film that is unexpected, but it works. And it really ties into the serious thriller aspects of the movie. Because there are some serious thriller aspects of it. It's having fun and it's playing games and everything, but it does take it seriously enough where when you have moments where shit gets real, it feels real. And in large part, that's because of the direction, the writing, the performances, and the score. The editing I thought was good too by Jamie Gross, Gregory Plotkin, and David Egan. And the film was like 100 minutes, and it goes by super quick. It goes by like a fast game of cards or Uno or whatever your game is of choice for your game night. It also really did a great job capturing the fun of game night. If you've ever had a game night with your friends, like this film really does encapsulate that feeling, that feeling of exuberation or exhilaration or just fun. It's just pure unfiltered fun. It's a really fun time at the movies. It's also too bad that this movie's not doing well. I honestly expected it because of Black Panther and the competition that it was having in theaters. I just hope it ends up making at least a profit, because as it is right now, it's only made $25 million on a $37 million budget. So that's not good. This film's looking like it'll be lucky to break even, and that sucks. Because this is, like I said, one of the best comedies in years, and it's tanking. It's not doing well. That sucks. That really does blow. Like that's a total loss. Like that's a total L to me. You know, it's one of those things. It's like, wow, come on. I mean, support a film like this. Don't, instead of something like Blockers, watch Blockers will be a hit. Fucking John Cena is going to be the next Dwayne The Rock Johnson and will be subjected to his stone-faced acting for the next few years. And a film like Game Night's going to underperform in the box office, even though it's a way better film. And actually is a comedy that tries. It actually gives a shit. It isn't just tits and ass and drugs and ass beer and all this other lazy fucking bullshit that most comedies are. It's not just a linorama movie where actors from SNL get together and do improv for 2 hours. it will really suck if this tanks, and it looks like it will, and Blockers or I Feel Pretty ends up being a hit. I mean, that all that's going to do is make studios be like, well, we're not going to take chances on something like Game Night, which is actually a comedy that cares about its audience and actually gives a shit and tries and has more jokes in it than just pussies and farts. It's just like, ugh. Go support this. If you like this, if you like the trailer, you're curious about the movie, go see it this weekend. Please go check out Game Night. Give it a chance. I think you might be surprised by how much you enjoy it. Also, I mean, if it is a movie you're looking forward to, like I did, absolutely go see it. If you haven't already. Because I really feel that this is the type of comedy that we should be supporting. We should be going to see this type of comedy. We should be going to give this type of comedy our money instead of these lazy bullshit comedies that have been shat out of Hollywood's ass over the past few years. Sorry, I just had to rant on it because I'm just like, why is this bombing? But anyway, I want to briefly mention the cast because I mean that's honestly a great way to send off this review, is to talk about the cast, because like I said, they're a real highlight. They're a big reason why this film really does cook, and it's a comedy that cooks, and it cooks with gas. So Jason Bateman plays Max, and you have Rachel McAdams who plays Annie. They are a great couple. They're cute. They have wonderful chemistry with each other. I really thought they played off each other really, really well. And it was nice to see Jason Bateman play a character that was more in tune to who he is, the snarky guy, but the guy who isn't a total a-hole. That was nice to see. But Rachel McAdams, she's a treasure in this. She's an absolute treasure. She's adorable. She's sexy. She's charismatic. I absolutely adored her in this. I cannot wait to see her in another comedy. She's come a long way since Mean Girls. She can do serious acting really well, and she's shown that in films like Spotlight. But with this movie, she's shown that she can do comedic acting equally as well. I really hope she gets more comedy roles after this, because, like I said, she was great. She was really, really good. Kyle Chandler's also solid as Brooks. He's a con man that is a total douchebag, but he's likable. Like, he's a con man with a heart of gold. Like, he's not necessarily a heart of gold, but he's a likable con man. You know, he puts a C in con man, but he's not a total asshole, and he's charming. He's got that certain charm about him. Billy Magnussen plays a male bimbo, because he's a total dumbass he's good looking, but he doesn't have much up here, but he has a certain charm to him as well. I liked his performance. I thought he had good chemistry as well with Sharon Horgan, who plays Sarah, who is this British girl who tags along for the ride, and she's intellectual, and they're an odd couple, and surprisingly they work well with each other. And yeah, I want to definitely give credit once again to the writing for the film, especially with Ryan's character. Mark Perez did a really fantastic, excellent job writing this character, who is a total, like, he's a dunce, but he's actually charming, and there's something about him that's likable. He's not a total asshole, a douchebag. Those are hard characters to write. The type of character the male guy who's a total he's a dumbass, but he's a lovable dumbass. He's our dumbass. Those are roles that are a lot harder to write than you think. I also really liked Lamorne Morris as Kevin and Kylie Bunbury as Michelle. I love the repeated gag about the celebrity that Michelle had banged before Kevin and her got married, and there's a repeated joke where Kevin's trying to figure out who it is. and that was a good repeated gag throughout the movie. I got some good laughs out of that. And yeah, speaking of laughs, I mean, this is a film that is one of those comedies where not all the laughs come from the trailer. Okay, there are plenty of moments where you're going to be laughing at scenes that were not in the trailer, which I was like, thank God. Oh, I mean, there's just a lot of comedies lately that have just been that. It's just all the gags are in the trailer. You see the movie, and it's not funny because you've already seen all of the funny scenes in the trailer. Thankfully, Game Night is not one of those losers. And I also really liked a certain actor who it was really nice to see in a surprise role, which I'm not going to give away, but he did a good job. Danny Huston was fine too in his bit role as a Donald Anderton. He's one of the bad guys in the film. Chelsea Peretti was there for a little bit as Glenda, who works at this murder you wrote company. But yeah, Jesse Plemons, once again, I just have to throw his name out there. Jesse Plemons is Gary Kingsbury. Total showstopper. Loved him in this. Hilarious. It also helps that his character was also likened to RoboCop. I mean, when you drop a RoboCop reference, you get a thumbs up from me. You get some kudos. But that's not the only reason why I really like this movie, though. It's not like, oh, they reference RoboCop. 2 thumbs up. If that was the case, I would have loved the remake, the reboot from 2014. And I don't. I hate that movie. And you all know that. It will be forever known as RoboCop. It's not RoboCop. It's RoboCop. But anyway, thankfully, though, this movie does not suck cock like that movie did. And Jesse Plemons, like I said, he steals the show, runs away with it, and yeah, I'm totally gonna remember his name now. Like, I'm gonna be looking, what is he gonna do next? Because he really did impress me that much. He really did leave that much of an impression on me after the film was over. I also have to say, if you see this, stay after the end credits. This actually does have an after end credit sequence, so don't leave. There's a nice little gag at the end and it's like it was actually another twist that I did not see coming at all, and I was like, what is going on here? What? I'm still puzzled. I'm still befuddled at the after credit sequence with Game Night. I don't even know what happened. What is it just, wow, it swerved me again. And like I said, yeah, there's some moments that are really going to take you for a loop, and you'd be like, wow, you got me, movie. You got me. And that's what a comedy, and especially a film with this type of concept, with this murder mystery thing, is supposed to do. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about the film except check it out if you like films like Clue or Michael Douglas's The Game, or even the original April Fool's Day from the 80s. This had some moments where it did remind me of that movie, which is a good thing because that's a great film too. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what else to say except thanks for watching my review of Game Night. Oh yeah, if I were to rate it out of 5 stars, as I'm rating things again, I would give it 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a really entertaining, fun movie. I thought for what it is, it excelled at it. The only thing I had an issue with was it wasn't as funny as it could be, but I still laughed quite a bit. So there were some jokes that didn't work, didn't quite land, but the characters are why I'm going to keep coming back to see this movie, why I'm going to buy this on Blu-ray, enjoy it, show it to my friends. It's the characters, it's the writing, it's a fun movie, it's well done, it's well written, and it's just one of those films that I was just so glad that it did not disappoint, because I was really waiting to see a comedy that would give me hope for comedy in the future, and thankfully Game Night has done that. So I can safely say that comedy is not dead thanks to Game Night. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.